I think the most dangerous place a person can live in is not failure. It's not rock bottom. It's not even struggle. It's being a dreamer who never moves. Because that version of you always feels you are close, always feels like you are about to start, always feels like next week, next month, next year, things will finally change. But nothing actually changes. And slowly, without you realizing it, you start living inside a loop of dreaming without doing. And I think that's a trap nobody wants you about. We usually think the problem is that people don't dream enough. But honestly, that's not the problem anymore. The problem is people only dream. They imagine a different life, they visualize success, they consume motivation, they feel inspired for a few hours, sometimes even a few days. But nothing moves from imagination into reality. And slowly, dreaming becomes something, a substitute for doing. That's the trap. When your mind starts believing that thinking about your future is the same as building it. I have been there, where you feel like you are not lazy, you are planning. You tell yourself, I'm figuring things out, I'm getting ready, I just need clarity first. But if I'm being honest, a lot of the time it's not clarity that we need, it's actions we are avoiding. Because action is uncomfortable, action exposes you, action make you feel reality instead of imagination, and imagination feels safer. Dreaming feels productive because it gives you emotion without effort. You feel motivated, you feel inspired, you feel like you are becoming someone. But nothing actually changes in your environment. Your habits stay the same, your routine stays the same, your discipline stays the same. And this is where illusion deepens because your mind starts confusing intention with progress. But intention without action is just imagination. There was a point where I realized something. I wasn't stuck because, I didn't know what to do. I was stuck because I kept waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel motivated enough, waiting for the right version of me to show up. But that version never came because that version is built through action and not before it. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't building my life, I was rehearsing it in my head. The dreamer's trap is uncomfortable. That's why it's so hard to leave because you get emotional, satisfied without real risk. You can dream big without failing. You can imagine success without facing rejection. You can stay potential forever without ever being tested. But potential without action slowly becomes frustration. And frustration turns into self doubt. And self doubt becomes identity.
I guess I'm just not that person anymore.
But that was never true. You just never stepped out of the loop. What broke it for me was not the motivation. It wasn't discipline. It wasn't a big moment of clarity. It was something much smaller. So I stopped asking, what if I fail? And started asking, what if I don't even try? Because that question just hits differently. See, failure is scary. But a life where you never actually attempt what you want, that's worse in a quiet way. It is a very slow way where you only notice it after a few years. The real problem is in dreaming. Dreaming is powerful. The problem is when dreaming becomes avoidance, when it replaces execution, when it becomes a way to delay discomfort. Because doing something real, even something small, will always feel more uncomfortable than imagining something big. But only one of them changes your life. If you feel stuck in a trap, don't try to fix your entire life. Don't try to become a new person overnight. I think you have to start with one uncomfortable action, something so small that your mind can't negotiate with it. One email, one workout, one post, 1 hour of focused work. It's like one decision that turns your thought into reality. Because the goal is not to become perfect, the goal is to break the cycle of delay. Once you start doing that consistently, something shifts. You stop being someone who only imagines life and you start becoming someone who interacts with it. And that changes your self image more than anything else. Because you finally have proof, not ideas, not dreams, but proof. Even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't feel perfect. So maybe the dreamer's trap isn't about dreaming too big. Maybe it's about staying too long in the dream without ever stepping into reality. And I think the real question is not what do you want in life, but how long are you going to keep only thinking about it? Because at some point, your dream either becomes your life or just something you keep repeating